So here's a real quick overview of the autonomic nervous system's two divisions, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. We'll talk about their functions, what they innervate, and hopefully give you a couple of ways to remember them. Here we have an anatomical schematic of both divisions, the sympathetic on this side and parasympathetic on the right side. And you can see that in most cases, functional organs are innervated by both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, with the exception probably most prominently of the adrenal gland, which only has sympathetic innervation to it. So here's a diagram that kind of shows you what goes on when the sympathetic nervous system is activated and when the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. On the sympathetic side, you'll see that things that are not urgently needed, excretion from your bladder, digestion, those things are not urgently needed as you prepare to either fight the problem or run away from the problem, but you will need to bring in more oxygen. So you're going to increase that respiratory rate, bronchioles are going to dilate, and then you're also going to have an increased heart rate, as well as this big adrenaline dump by activation of the adrenal hormones from that sympathetic stimulation of the adrenal gland. On the parasympathetic side, things tend to return to normal. The heart rate comes back to normal, respiratory rate comes back to normal, the bronchioles come back to normal, and then there's time for digestion. There's time for excretion. So sympathetic is going to be your fight or flight, parasympathetic is going to be your rest and digest. Here's a couple links you can copy and take to the internet and watch. The YouTube video does a pretty good job explaining this, and hopefully 2 or 3 different ways to see this will help you remember. The link above that is for an animation that I thought was particularly helpful. So again, you can copy these links and take a look at those. Here's a visual, hopefully, that will help you remember sympathetic and tie that to fight or flight. Gives you a pretty good idea of things that go on. Glucose released to provide more energy for muscles. And then on the sympathetic side, we don't worry about digestion. We don't worry about any of the recovery sorts of things. Your brain gets ready for action. Pupils dilate, bring in more light. Your heart rate increases. Your heart pumps faster. Your muscles tense. You breathe faster. And this again is the stand and fight or run away sympathetic nervous system. And here's a visual that I hope you can remember. The parasympathetic nervous system. Rest and digest. Get ready for the next call.